Hey lovelies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tia, aka Teacup Simmer, and this is another speed build. And this is part 4. Yeah, there we go. This is part 4 of our Build the Town challenge. If you guys don't know anything about the Build the Town challenge, it is a challenge that Rose Sims created, which I'm going to be putting a link to her channel down in the description box below, where you pretty much work on creating backstories for your Sims and building houses for them. And my last build was a family home for a family of 3, 2 adults and a teenager, and this home is built for the creative sim that you guys should have seen. I'll also leave a link to that in the description box. The household is called 3 Creatures and a Baby, and it's basically a townhome is what I was kind of going for, like the idea of a shared home with like a shared living space with each individual with their own kind of mini apartments, I guess is the best idea, because we don't really have apartments outside of San Myshuno. This is kind of the idea I was going for, because everybody has to share like the living space and the kitchen and everything like that, and some of the bathrooms have to be shared, but everything else is like private. So that's kind of the idea I was going for. The backstory for the Sims in this household is the household is for 3 adult Sims. One is named Corey Eastman, one is Teresa Temple, and then the other is Leia Saldana. Corey Eastman is our gloomy, very successful author, and then Teresa is our ambitious master vampire, and Leia Saldana is the caretaker for our adorable little alien baby, Jamie Saldana, who is going to be growing up in this household, which I think is really kind of fun. So with this build, I was like I said, I was going for like that townhouse feel, at least like American townhouses when you're talking about sharing spaces and stuff. I was really looking at, what was I thinking? The idea for this one is that it was actually just maybe like a single home that was owned by an older woman who's actually going to be a character in future build the town creative sims and challenges. So I might build another house and another set of sims that are going to basically be an extension of this story. But this house used to be owned by an older lady who made a good chunk of money. She was fairly well-to-do, but she decided she wanted to rent out her home to tenants, and so she basically split all the rooms up in her house basically and put it up for rent. And now the older woman is living with her boyfriend somewhere else in town, which we're going to go and see them at some point and build their house with that, and I think that'll be fun. But this house, I was going more for like, I'm very bad with like eras and everything, but I was going very much like Victorian, like townhome. I've seen homes similar to this when I was in New Orleans and sometimes in France. I saw some houses not exactly like this, don't quote me, but like I saw houses similar to this, like the idea of like that slimmer home that went backwards and had more space from front to back than it did from side to side, and I thought that was kind of cool. It's still a fairly big home, and it still costs a good chunk. I didn't really get the specs on it. I probably should. I should start keeping track of that stuff, but I haven't. So if you guys do want to find this one, it is up on the gallery underneath my origin ID Teacup_Simmer1, so you guys can definitely find that. I really had a lot of fun with this build. I'm fairly proud of it. I took a lot of inspiration from some of my favorite builders, like Lil Simsy and Rose Sims. I like some of her stuff. I like, who else do I like? I like a lot of simmers actually. But I took a lot of inspiration when it came to like doing like generic old-timey like not old-timey, but more family home type stuff, because my idea was that this wasn't really a modern house, even though there's a lot of individuals who are younger living here. Most of the individuals in this house right now are young adults. I kind of took the idea that they all didn't bring their own stuff except for their rooms, and even in their rooms, most of the furniture would still be old and kind of be borrowed. So everything in there, only except for like a few pieces, would be like originals from the house. So I wasn't thinking that they would have any like really modern or really edgy furniture or anything like that. I was thinking everything in this house was basically part of the rental, and they pretty much probably brought some few things, like Leia probably brought some stuff for Jamie with their section of the house, and I think Corey didn't bring anything except for some of his like writing stuff and maybe a few bookcases. And then my idea for Teresa, since she's our master vampire, because she's been around for so long, she's basically stayed or been around this older woman, and I'm pretty sure that they like were friends at one point or another. So Teresa has always had a lot of stuff in the house, and so her section is more customized than either of the other two tenants because she's been around longer. But I had a lot of fun with this one, especially making the character of the house, because like I said, I took a lot of inspiration from some of the Little Simsies builds by kind of using a lot of that base game stuff that we all kind of see all the time but we don't use, but is actually fairly versatile when you're talking about building homes that are meant for like Willow Creek or something, or Newcrest, that are very suburban, not necessarily rich, but like well-worn furniture, that type of stuff. So I had a lot of fun building that, but there isn't really much to talk about with the build, truthfully. I have there's a lot of like character in each of the like individual rooms, but I don't really get to those in a bit. I spend a lot of time on the like living space trying to get that right, and I'm always very like meticulous when it comes to my builds, and that's also why I love watching some of the stuff. And definitely, like, I know I'm plugging her a lot, but I really do love Little Simsy stuff just because she's built so many things that she's kind of got a system to how she thinks everything will look and how she wants everything to be put together. And I think that's like, it's kind of inspirational because it's very hard, and I know for me, to come up with stuff that how I want things to go together. And truthfully, a lot of stuff in The Sims actually goes fairly well together. You just kind of have to like go with it. And I'm super duper picky. Like, I want all shades of colors to match and everything. So I just kind of have to go with like similar colors versus like everything matching exactly the way I wanted to. But it did turn out great. It did turn out like it turned out the way I wanted it to. There we go. It took me a second to find the right word, but I'm super duper tired. I haven't really been recording. A lot of this footage I've actually recorded a while ago. Like, I go through bouts of time where I'll be super into recording, and then sometimes I'm not. Like, sometimes I'll like be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna build this, and I'm gonna do this household, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna be super ambitious, and then I don't do anything with it. And it's so stupid because I always end up getting really interested in like a project. Like, you guys saw, I have like my Amazon challenge that I got super duper into. I have so many things up on my website that are about the rules, and I got so invested, and then I never got time to start like really recording it, especially because it started off having a lot of role playing, and I didn't really know how that was gonna go. So I'm still kind of iffy on that. I really do want to go back to that challenge. It's actually still one of my favorite ones. I'm just trying to figure out what to do. I really want to go back to it now, actually, or sometime around now, because I think it would be cool to have like an extra profession in the Amazon challenge, like called like Beastmaster or something, when we get cats and dogs, and we'll have one Amazon specifically set to control the animals in the tribe. And that would be really cool. And it would also be really interesting because I did see in a lot of the releases of content for the cats and dog expansion pack that a lot of the traits and stuff. One of the traits is hunter. I think it's for dog, and I know there's a similar trait for cats. I saw it, but I'm not completely positive. So if you guys know that, please correct me if I'm wrong. But I did see that one. So I was thinking it would be, maybe they have like the hunter trait means that they have some way of like bringing something to the table when it comes to like finance wise or like items wise to a household. Maybe like if you train your dog enough that they'll like hunt like small animals for you. I don't know, like I know they used to do that in the Sims 3, and I'm not sure if they would add that back in for the Sims 4, but it would be really cool. Or if they have like dog shows or something, like I don't know, something where you can kind of make money off of your animals. And maybe if you like adopt them out, possibly that could be a thing. I'd have to like play around with it, because I'm trying to find like the best way to do like a challenge for cats and dogs. Not even necessarily a challenge, just a way to incorporate it. Some of the Let's Plays I'm doing, like Stepmom, I'm gonna try working on again. I've been working on that one too in the background. I have a bunch of mods that I've been adding in, and I want to include like cats and dogs into that, because Leia recently had like babies, and so those babies are going to be toddlers, and once they turn into toddlers they might get puppies. Might get a puppy, and that would be cute. What else was I thinking? Like there are so many different ways to incorporate like cats and dogs into like some of my current Let's Plays and some of my future Let's Plays. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to do that, but I haven't been focusing a lot on Sims 4 on my channel recently, and I really kind of want to, because my channel is called Teacup Simmer for a reason. Like I love The Sims. It's just I haven't had like the energy or the time to like really record anything in The Sims 4, and it's also probably because I stress myself out way too much. If you guys have been following my channel for a while, you know that I take a lot of time and energy, and I like push myself really hard for really big projects, and then I like burn myself out trying to make sure that I get them done. Like Sims 3 Warrior Cats Challenge is like my favorite challenge, but I burn myself out trying to do it because it takes so much extra time. So I'm really trying to find one and find like a balance to see if I can figure out a way to record it, either record it in bulk prior to having to put it out, or recording it like on a day-to-day basis, but setting aside like an hour of time each day where I work on that specific series. So it would just depend, especially if everybody's gonna want the series to be out like once a day, which definitely always happens. So I'm gonna have to work on that. Right now I'm just working on a couple of different things. I've been trying to get back into basically like taking care of myself. Working out is horrible. I don't know why people okay, it's not horrible, don't get me wrong, but like I can do it, I just don't. If that makes sense. I will work out if I get myself in the habit of doing it, but if I'm not in the habit of doing it, it doesn't happen. Like it doesn't. And so I will like, if someone asks me to go like, Tia, let's go running or something, I'm like sure, and I'll do it, but I'm not gonna be that invested in it, and I definitely won't be excited about it. But if I do it, like I'm not against doing it, but I won't come up with it, if that makes sense. So I'm not gonna like intentionally put myself in pain, but if someone asks me, I'll be like, okay, sure. which is probably a horrible way to actually stay in shape. Don't, like, to be honest, this is not an endorsement of laziness, guys. Don't get it twisted. But I still haven't found my motivation yet, and I definitely need to. Like, being healthy is something you definitely need to focus on early in your life, because if you don't get into the habit of doing it, and then you end up in my situation where you're in like your early 20s and you've not gotten used to working out, and so the idea of it makes you want to throw up. Ugh. And this is actually the room I'm working on right now, is actually Leia and Jamie's room. Leia Saldana is our normal individual in the household, and Jamie is her her alien younger sibling, half sibling, from by her parents. Her father was a scientist who ended up getting himself knocked up by an alien, and then he had an alien baby, and then unfortunately him and his wife ended up passing away as soon as Leia left university. So Leia is now in charge of her younger sibling Jamie, who is an alien, and she has absolutely no idea how to help raise an alien. And so that would be interesting. That's always an interesting story that I'm kind of excited to see. If I actually decide to go in and play these Sims, that would be really fun. This room is actually Teresa Temple's room. Teresa is the master vampire. She's a fairly old vampire. She's also very girly, so I was going with a very bright pink, cover the windows, of course, because of the sunlight, but she's a very bright pink, bright, cheery individual. The bookcase door I thought was a really cool touch, and once we start working on that area, the bookcase door opens up into an area where her coffin is, because even though she has a bed that she keeps there for aesthetics, she doesn't necessarily use it all that much. She uses her coffin more so than she does her bed, and her bed is also for some of her gentleman callers that she says comes to say hi to her every once in a while. She's very old-fashioned on occasion, which is actually super cute, but she's also a really interesting character when it comes to her being really ambitious and wanting to grow her own little coven of vampires, and so right now she's just being her adorable quirky self by having a beautiful pink room and using her time to kind of pretty herself up and work on her skills and research vampirism. And this is the area where her coffin is, and I end up putting some scratches around the door. So I'm saying in her younger days she would get very thirsty, and so she would have the original owner of the house lock her in this room until she was able to control herself, because she would have the tendency to go and snack on unsuspecting Sims. I absolutely love the idea of Teresa and her hidden little room behind her bookcase where her coffin is. I think that was a fun way of kind of including her character. And this is a community sink space, and I kind of based it off of the community areas in my college and university, where you have two sinks or one sink that you share with the people on your floor or in your general area, and then the bathroom would be shared as well. So the sinks are outside of the bathroom, so you don't have to worry about having to wash your hands or anything if someone needs to go to the bathroom or needs to use a shower or something like that, which is fine. But that's kind of how I got this idea, because I wanted it to remind me of a communal space. And then this room is, like I said, this whole house used to be owned by an older woman who has been around for a while, and I'm saying she kind of collected a bunch of junk. This is her junk space, and so she has a lot of fairly valuable stuff in here that she kind of stuffed into this room and locked away, because she only wanted 3 tenants. She didn't want anything else more than 3 tenants. So she has cardboard boxes on the floor, and boxes full of junk, and an old keyboard, and paint in a place where she put paintings, and old car parts, and just a bunch of stuff she kind of accumulated over the years and she never really got rid of. And since she doesn't have a garage, she just decided to put it all in this room. And she's done a lot of stuff in her life, so she has a ton of stuff that she just kind of shoved in here. And it's also her way of cleaning, so she has collectibles and boxes and capsules full of stuff she's never opened, and books and things that she just kind of stuffed everything in here. And that door always stays locked until she decides whether or not she wants to add another tenant, and then she'll get rid of it all. But currently she only wanted 3 tenants, and Teresa's always been there, so she kind of just closed that door off so no one would go in it. And then this area is what's his name? I can't believe I forget his name. Corey, who is our gloomy artist. He's an author, and he's an extremely annoying person. He's very famous, but he's extremely mean to everyone. He thinks he's the best thing since sliced bread. His work is very emotional, very touching, but he absolutely wants absolutely nothing to do with anyone. He doesn't like people. Once we get cats and dogs, I'm definitely going to give him a cat, because he doesn't like individuals of the two-legged variety. He doesn't want to deal with them. He thinks they're all emotionally stunted and completely stupid, and so he wants absolutely nothing to do with Sims or anyone. So he just normally stays in his room and writes and reads books and hangs out with his cat most of the time. He does not like all of the other tenants. He only tolerates them. He does not want to deal with them. He's a very nice character. He also pays the most for his room, so he gets a balcony. He gets like an actual opening to the balcony. Teresa has a balcony space, but she blocked off the entrance years ago, so she doesn't go out there, because she can't really go out in the sunlight, and she also just doesn't like people being able to see her while she's doing anything. And so Corey has a door to the balcony, and so he utilizes that to kind of read and spend time away from all the other tenants of the house. So he has his own little space with like plants and everything. He's very good at being solo. He doesn't like people. He relishes other people's pain, and and he likes watching it because he likes trying to figure out how it works so that he can include it in his stories. But he's not the best. He's not the best individual to have as a friend. And now we're pretty much working on the final part of the house. It's the backyard. I had a lot of fun in this build, and if you guys have any ideas for me to do other builds similar to this or different types of builds, please let me know down in the comments. I like putting stuff like this together. It's really fun because once I'm actually like doing it and getting creative, I can actually pull out some pretty okay stuff. So if you guys have ideas for different builds that I should do, please put them down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and please subscribe, and if you really love me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. But you